This may be the slowest moving car project on YouTube. However, that does not mean that I'm okay with delays because of poor quality parts. I know a lot of people have been complaining about this over the last few years. Now it's my turn. Not that I want to complain about quality of parts, but I've now been bitten by the low quality parts issue. Now this one, I can't really blame the manufacturer. Not really. But when this box showed up, it had holes in the box. And this power steering rack has some smashed hard lines. Not usable anymore. Where's the other one? Right there. Not usable anymore. That's crap. There was no packing material in this box whatsoever. These were held in by cardboard like dividers at the ends. And this thing just rattled around from, I don't remember where the warehouse is, but it's a few states away. Now, to their credit, the supplier did offer the option of just returning it or allowing me to fix it, and they reimbursed me. So I filled out their form online and got reimbursed for the cost of the lines and a little bit of labor because the supplier of this did not have these hard lines in stock. I ordered the replacement parts from the other supplier, and this one showed up without any packing material either. And I was a little concerned at first, but I think they're okay. These are really lightweight. They don't have a lot of energy when they move around, and I think they're okay. I wish the bag was like puffed up at least, but they look like they're in good shape. So maybe I could call this a tiny upgrade. Those, I don't know what those lines are on that. Maybe they're steel, maybe they're stainless, but these are stainless. They look a little nicer. So these will go on, not today, because I have a lot of fitting and a lot of messing around to do. I'm just going to leave those damaged lines on there for now. I should probably make sure that these look like they're going to fit properly. But I'll leave those on there. So as we're setting the engine in place and we're moving stuff around, if we bump it again, it's okay. It'll be okay. It's funny because now this supplier made money because of that supplier. And I'm not going to tell you who it is, except for this is one of my favorites. And the supplier of the rack, they're fine. Yeah, I've ordered stuff from them before and I haven't had a problem. This is the first time I've had a problem. It is what it is, I guess. So if you remember from the last video, the reason I wanted this rack was because out where the control arms are and the sway bar and all that stuff outboard of the frame, where all that stuff meets up, we need to make sure we have clearance for everything. So I figured now's a good time to get a rack and see how it fits in here. So we got our bolts here. I just whipped up a spacer out of a piece of scrap that I had in the bin out back. Of course, I only had one piece the correct size, so that's what we're stuck with. But that's okay. This is going to locate us, and this one can float a little bit. That's not a big deal. We're just looking at how much clearance do we really have. Let's get that washer that I dropped. Where did it go? Right there. Bushings. Now, I have no idea what this bushing material is. I think it's a urethane. Kind of feels urethane, but also feels really squishy. And we don't want it to be too squishy. Because we want a nice feel to the steering wheel. And I dropped that. I'm going to have to crawl in there. Dang it. Did I lose my washer again? Oh, it's out there. I left it out there before I crawled into the car. Here. Here we go. Dang. Gotta do it the other way. Like I was saying, I want a nice firm feel on the steering wheel. So I don't want these bushings to be too soft. However, The roads in this area can be pretty rough. Train tracks and country roads and, well, get back here. Some highways that just aren't maintained very well. A lot of truck traffic beating them up. And I've come up with an easier way to do this, that's for sure. This is stupid. Okay, that sits higher than I thought it would. A little bit. All right, now we just got to put all the A-arms in and everything and see what we got. All right, one thing I'm hoping for is that when I welded these pieces on, that the heat pulled these mounts out just a little bit, so this will slide in. Oh, perfect. Oh man, I had to fight every time I put these in, and these little teeth that are on here made it a lot more difficult, which that's the point. This sleeve's supposed to stay put and the bushing's supposed to move around it. So, yeah, that's much better. Of course, I still need to put my little spacer bushings in these lower holes because 1/2-inch bolt hole in this sleeve, 5/8 hole in the cross member. I have not decided if I want to press this out and maybe these unknown rubber bushings and put harder urethane bushings in a bigger sleeve, or if I'm just going to put some nice reducers on this frame, call it good. Half inch is probably enough, but like I was saying, our roads and the engine choice on this may make me want a little bigger bolt there. So we'll see about that. Of course, there's always something else to do. And we got to remember to get boots for this ball joint, because when I bought this, these lower arms, they didn't come with the boots. I bought them from someone who bought them, didn't use them, resold them. It's getting kind of gross in there. Maybe I could just buy a new ball joint, but maybe I can just take it apart, clean it, put it back together, put a new boot on it. I always forget that I can drop those in from the top. Oh well. Oh, that's not the right one. Gotta go. We're gonna have to go. We're gonna want to go this side. Didn't I have a longer bolt? Maybe that's it, huh? Center hole. Why do I feel like I'm missing some bolts here? Do that so it doesn't fall. I can find the right size bolts. I swear, I went and got the correct length bolts. Let's get the other side done. I don't like that. This side didn't widen like the other side did. Seems to be a little tighter. That side was worse. This side went in without much persuasion, but now it's flip-flopped. Oh no, I just bent it real good. That was way too much. Oops. Yeah, we'll fix that. All right, well, we got that in there. And what it took was a couple of steel blocks shoved in there as spacers, and then, little hammer work and bend this edge back and widen this out. It's good. We're good. It went in nice and easy. So now we have the left side in, and we have the right side in. We got our caster and camber kind of roughed in, I don't know, within a half a degree or so. Now I'm looking at where these ends are, about the center of the hole. I actually haven't checked this yet, so let's find out. All right, so we can come over a little bit. Out the edge. We're just eyeballing this for now because I need to buy ends to go on here. Yeah, a little too far. Yeah, it's kind of close. Close enough to get an idea of what the heck we're doing here. Now, in here are a couple of adapters that I bought. This is part of like a bump steer kit for the Mustang 2. Basically, it's got the taper to fit in there. You put your castle nut on here, and down here you have a 1/2 inch shank with a fair bit of room, so you can adjust your end link up and down. So what's going to go on here, we're going to put a spherical rod end, and it's going to be a little tricky. One issue is this is 14 millimeter thread. This is a 1/2 inch shank. So the rod ends you can get with a 14 millimeter female thread have a 14 millimeter hole diameter. So we're going to have to make a little spacer to go on here. We'll heat shrink it on, probably heat shrink it on, I think. I don't want to put a spacer on there and have it rattle. We'll figure that out in the near future. Right now, I'm thinking that we're going to be trimming this down a bit. This is a lot of thread, which makes sense. Normal tie rod ends have a lot of thread on the outside end, so you can adjust a lot. But yeah, we'll find threads. We'll find some rod ends that have the longest section of 14 millimeter thread that I can get, and we will cut the minimum off of here that we need. I don't really want to cut it off, but you can see it's just not gonna, there's no room there. What can we do besides that? Oh, we can check our strut rods now. Now, a couple observations from the last video. One was the strut rod is probably going to fold and bend. So if it's on there, somewhere in there, as long as we got enough clearance here, which is going to be really tight, we need to make a mount out there. This flat bar is trying to bend this way during braking. So it's trying to open up this angle and open up this angle. This is probably beefy enough. That's like 3/8 steel. The round tube versions of these are nicer, and I might still do that, especially since we might have to do something custom. I might want to come off of, well, coming off the bottom is going to be tricky, but I might not want to come off the top of this with the strut rod just because of our low clearance here. Because if I end up with this pointed down to correct bump steer, ooh, yeah, we're getting close. Getting really close. And I don't like to be that close with moving components, especially since I don't have a firm grasp of how this will all move together yet. It's kind of an unknown. I don't want to box myself in. Maybe we'll wait on those until like maybe it'll be about the last step of the front end. The only bummer being I want to get this painted, which I've said like, I don't know, 5 times in the last few videos. I want to get this front end painted, but we will be mounting this strut rod mount somewhere up here, a couple of plates or a pocket or something. So we're going to have to weld on there. I don't know. We will have to figure that out soon though, because I really want to get this front end to the point where it can support its own weight. So we just got to keep moving forward. I know I should just keep working on the steering thing. Maybe I'll just get the rod ends ordered and we'll figure out how those sit. And then maybe it's time to grab the engine, put that oil paint on, and set it in, because now we can see how much clearance we have. The rack sits up above the cross member a fair bit, actually. I mean, that's probably 1.5 inches. In fact, maybe. Where's that oil pan? So this Fox Body 460 swap oil pan should be a close fit. At least that's what I was told a long time ago by someone on the internet. And you know how that works. But we do have clearance. We're touching the rack right there. I need something to hold this up. I don't have anything to hold up. We're just going to have to eyeball it. I'm just going to rest it on there. We're touching. And if I look through, kind of through the opening for the main bearing caps here, I'm looking right down the center of the transmission tunnel, and we're not too high up. I don't know if I can get a shot of that. Now, of course, this is absolutely, really super rough estimate. This doesn't really mean much, but I'm glad that we're not, sitting up here somewhere. Interesting. But in any case, we made a little bit of progress today. Got an idea of what I'm going to do next. One thing I can do while I'm waiting is I got these made. These are to link the top of the coilover mounts together. And I'm going to get those installed. And I got kind of an idea. No, you can't see it right now, but where this top A-arm comes in and it's adjustable, sometimes people complain that they slip and they're hard to adjust. So we might be adding a plate below this with some holes through it and have an adjustment bolt in there to help push each side the correct amount. Maybe that'll make it a little easier. Maybe it'll just complicate things. I don't know. I think I got room to do it, so we're probably going to lay it out. So that's probably what I'm going to do next time. I'm going to be welding these in, laying out the templates for the adjuster bolts. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air at the moment. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time.